It's about violence and rape.
So we were in chapter 14. And so there is a battle happening. There's a war happening in Genesis chapter 14. But just read. You got to read it. Like, don't depend on what I'm telling you or depend on what the pastor's telling you. Read it. I'm just giving you the guidelines in order to read so you'll be reading properly. But there's a battle in Genesis chapter 14, verse 8. It says, then the rebel kings of Sodom, Gomorrah, and whatever the other cities are called, prepared for the battle in the valley of the Dead Sea. They fought against the kings I mentioned earlier, which is in chapter 14, verses 1 and 2. It says, and as the army of the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, they were running. Some fell into tar pits while the rest escaped into the mountains. So they're fighting in a war, they're losing, and so now people are falling into tar pits and other people are running, trying to get away to save their lives, right? Keep on, you gotta read. I'm pointing out small stuff. Then the story ends because now they start talking about, in the same chapter 14, they start talking about Melchizedek blesses Abram, right? So the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, the war is stopped. And now we are in Genesis chapter 14. There's no talk about Sodom and Gomorrah in 14. And then there is chapter 15, which in chapter 15, there is a conversation about the great outcry in chapter 15, right? Where Melchizedek says that there's a great outcry and he's coming to destroy the city, this, that, and the third, right? Then there is nothing. 16, 17, 18. Now we're in chapter 19. So when you put all of that context together, these men did not just walk up and decide that they wanted to have sex with the strangers, because they didn't know they were angels. We didn't know they were angels until we read the story. And it depends on the version that you're using. They decide that they want to, but it's about fear.